Hello there, it's Sev here from Three Counties Motorhomes and welcome to my video guide on how to use a butane cylinder, typically a Camping Gas 907 that we have in this particular vehicle here. Now the vehicle we're working on today is an Autohaus Spartan Volkswagen Campervan, but of course this installation can be found in many campervans, and a butane bottle will typically be preferred when you're dealing with smaller leisure vehicles because of course space is a premium, so having a smaller gas locker is typically desirable, but of course you can also find these in larger vehicles as well, but we're typically talking about the blue 907 bottles here, not the red propane bottles. So let's talk about what we see here, how you're going to remove and reinstall a refilled bottle, and some safety advice along the way. So in this particular gas locker, we have the regulator for the gas attached to the back wall there, and from there the gas supply goes into the vehicle. And to attach the cylinder to the regulator, we have this rubber pipe or tail that has a valve fitting here, as you can see, that we screw directly into the cylinder itself. Other types of installation can have the gas pipe being rubber and from the vehicle, but the regulator is actually in place of this brass valve here, so it's actually on the end of the rubber hose itself, the regulator, and you screw the regulator directly onto the cylinder, and the valve for turning the gas supply on and off will be on the end of the regulator itself. The regulators can typically look almost like a discus or a UFO type shape, and they'll be, like I say, screwed directly into the cylinder. So you can have two different approaches to how to connect the cylinder to the vehicle, hardware-wise, but essentially the fundamental idea is still the same. You're still screwing your gas hose or supply into the cylinder itself. Now, when you take collection of your vehicle, likely you will have a cylinder already installed. So the first thing you're going to be doing when you have to handle one of these, other than turning it on and off, of course, is to remove an empty bottle to replace it with a refill. And that's what we're going to show you today. So you may notice, of course, there's rather a length of hose there. It's not a very short hose, and that's with good reason, because of course we want to make sure there's enough length in this hose to be able to get the bottle outside of the locker to then be able to unscrew it from the valve. But the first step we need to do is to remove this restraining strap here that keeps the bottle secure when the vehicle's driving. So we're going to do that first. And what I like to do is not fully release the strap. So we just basically create a large loop here, and that makes it just easier to manage and also retighten when the time comes. I've put a something on the base of the vehicle here, just to protect it from being scratched by the bottle as we work with it. I suggest you do the same. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to lean the bottle towards the door, and then we're basically going to roll as we lift the bottle out to sort of feed that excess or slack back into the locker. You'll see what I mean as I do it. So I'm going to lean out towards the door there, and I'm going to slowly roll. So that's the roll I mean, like that, if you see what I mean there. Okay, so I'm just rolling it out until I can sit it on my protective surface. And let me just move the camera back a little bit now so we can see what we're doing here. And now we have the cylinder out. Now, you can either do this before you remove the cylinder from the locker, or you can do it now, but make sure your gas supply is firmly shut off. I would probably recommend you doing it before you get to this stage, but doing it at least here at the latest is the bare minimum. So I'm just going to make sure that's nice and shut off, which it is. Now all we need to do is just unscrew the cylinder. So we just spin it like so. Now I'm holding it just a small distance above the protective mat here because it's going to drop off the thread suddenly when of course it's undone. There we go. And as you can see, the valve is now completely separated, and what we have on top of the cylinder, just so you can see, is a threaded section there with a ball valve inside there. So that's the top. Now, what we then need to do, your gas bottle should have been supplied with one of these. Okay, and this, just so you can see, is a carry handle for the cylinder itself. So the next stage is to screw that on so that now we can carry the bottle to the supplier that's going to be offering you the refill. Now, that's basically what you need to do. You're going to take this refill, or this empty, pay for a refill, and you'll probably go to a cage or an area where they'll have their full bottles that you can pick up once you've paid, and you're going to pick up the full bottle. Now, you might find there's a red security or safety tab around this in some fashion that you need to pick off, and then it basically is going to be a reverse of what we've already done. So we're going to unscrew the handle, but don't lose it. Put it just to one side for the moment. We're then going to take the valve. And what I like to do is I like to lean the bottle. The underside of the bottle on the 907s is, as you can see, you've got the metal lip here, and then you've got the actual underside, bulbous underside of the cylinder. So I grab that with a hand whilst sitting the other part just on the surface there. This just allows me to be able to rotate the cylinder with my left hand whilst holding the threaded section of the valve together with the top of the cylinder. And then I can rotate the two together, trying to get them nicely lined up. And once the thread is started, you should be able to lift the cylinder off your hand, at which point the fun part where you just spin the cylinder like so until it bites tight, and then just give it a gentle like that, just to comfortably finger tight like so. That's all you need. Once again, just ensure that the valve is tight before we go any further. Now, the next stage is going to be to prepare the locker. So make sure that your loop of the strap you left loose is not twisted and not going to get in the way. And then we're going to, once again, we're going to sort of roll the cylinder in. So I pick up from the top of the valve there, and then I roll like this in. Now from here, I just angle the bottle inside and I can place it in, okay? Very simple so far. We can push the protective sort of plastic there down. Now you'll notice if we look at it from the side here, that the hose is sticking out proud. And that's expected. And what we're going to do now is to lift once more and continue to roll. And that's just going to coil up the hose until now, as you can see, it's inside the locker. Perfect. From this position now, all we do is just tighten the strap once more. Tuck the loose end away. Then what I highly recommend you do is take your handle and put that in the locker as well so you don't lose it. And then if you need to and want to, of course, and you're going to use the gas straight away, you can turn on and you can use. So it's as easy as that. That's how you're going to use the 907 butane style bottle with a camper van. Like I say, just to reiterate, your hose and regulator setup may be slightly different, but the process is going to be the same. You're still going to do the whole removal and reinstallation in the same way. You'll have a bit of a different set of equipment that you'll be screwing into the top of the bottle, that's all. I'm Sev, and I hope you've enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching.